come back on. Hi, and welcome back to the Daily Run with Za. My name is Eliza Miron, where it's not just about the run, it's about how the run sustains us in life. So today we have Judy Mick, and Judy is a fellow run streaker. She's the first woman run streaker I've ever talked to. And let's see, it looks like, I'm just looking on runeveryday.com here. So it looks like Judy's run every single day since November 20th, 1985, which is a little over 35 years. That's 12,917 days, consecutive days of running. So thanks.
That makes me sound old.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. You know, it's every year you're just another year older. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And do you live in Virginia area? So I don't know how the winter was this year, but
well, it wasn't too bad. We had some really chilly days, but we didn't have any of the big snows, so I'm always thankful for.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, if you want to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I don't like cold weather anymore at all, and I find the older I get, the worse I am about it.
Oh, yeah, because I really don't like it right now, so I'm going to be in for it. You know, every year it seems like it's going to get worse, huh?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us today. If you want to, I guess the first question I have is what's like your morning routine, and even if it doesn't include a run in the morning, how do you start your day?
Well, I started running in the morning, several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in probably the 1990s, and I ran with about 3 guys, and we would run after I got off work at 5 o'clock, and we did that for years. But then as they slowly stopped running, and I left the job that I was in, I found like the mornings worked so much better for me. My husband and I own a business now, and you never know what's going to happen in your day. Mm-hmm. So I have found that if I run first thing in the morning, that just works better for me. So I've been a morning runner, probably 20 years now. It's you get it out. I hate to say get it out of the day because it's really the best part of the day, but yeah. You get it done. And especially if you're a streaker, you don't have to, it comes to 11:30 and you go, oh my gosh, I haven't run today. So you get it done. But I get up in the morning, and when I wake up, I lay there in bed for about 5 or 10 minutes. There's exercises that I do in bed. Mm-hmm. I had a meniscus tear about 3 years ago, so I do some stretches before I even get out of bed. Mm-hmm. And then I get dressed. I do, and I don't want to sound holier than thou, but I get up in the morning. I do some morning devotional reading, mm-hmm. and I do that, and then I do a couple more stretches, and then I head out the door. Mm-hmm. And that's about the extent of my my pre-run routine. Yeah.
And so you've been running, is that kind of, when was the last time that you had to run in the afternoon, or do you remember? Did you ever?
Well, seriously, it was maybe 3 weeks ago. We mm-hmm. had been out of town in Tennessee, and we wanted to get back on the road early, about 5 or 6 in the morning. Yeah. So I said, well, I'll just, wait and run when we get home. So yeah. It was about 3 o'clock. So it was one of those days that it wasn't too bad. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of, I've actually talked with a few runners out there when I ran with the Raven, Bob Kraft, down in Miami Beach. And, he runs at the same time every day and hasn't missed not only a day of running, but the running at around the same time every day. So when I talked to a few people down there, they thought a run streak meant you have to run at the same time every day. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter when you run, or, as long as you get it in within that calendar day. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. I really enjoy that morning. When I was pregnant, currently I do yoga in the morning, but when I was pregnant, I just really like to get out of the way and just make sure, I was safe the rest of the day, basically.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There's only been one time where I was really close. it was, and this is funny. The longer you streak, and I'm totally grateful for the family I had. My mom and dad. My dad's the one that actually got me excited about running years ago, and my husband is just incredible. But Daddy this was before he passed away, and he was in the hospital in the emergency room. And it was one of those strange days where I remember it was a Sunday, and Bob and I, my husband, we were just like, I got up, I said, I'm just feeling kind of lazy today. Let's just make some breakfast here at the house, and then I'll go running later. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So in the middle of breakfast, my mom had called, and that she had Daddy in the ER. I was like, oh, my gosh. So, we pack and go see them. They lived an hour and a half away, and they flew him on to another hospital, and I'd got Mom settled into a hotel room, and I was sitting with Daddy. Of course, you know how it is in the hospitals. You're in the ER, and they're waiting for you to get into a room.
Yeah.
And it was about 11 o'clock, and Daddy said, you haven't run today yet, have you?
Uh-oh.
And I said, no, I haven't. I said, but that's fine. He goes, look. He said, it's going to be another couple hours. He said, go get your run in. I'll be right here.
Yeah.
And so I did. So
yeah, I know.
So it helps to have a really good support system.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you start getting into, not, I guess first of all running, and then running every day? So how did that kind of develop? Was your dad a part of that?
Well, it's kind of funny. He was, and I've still got the log we had back when we'd run a mile or 2 miles every evening. But then he just kind of got away from it. And so this was back when I was probably like 10 or 11. And then I never did anything more with it either. And I grew up in a small town in West Virginia. So people were like, did you run track in high school? And I was like, no, I'm from a small town in West Virginia in the 60s and 70s. There was not a thing as girls track. Didn't happen. So when I went to college, my best friend and I, when you go to college, or at least we did, you get the freshman and the freshman 30, the 30 pounds from, beer and pizza at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning.
I've heard about the freshman 15. I didn't know there was a freshman 30.
Well, we got the freshman 30.
Uh-oh, yeah. Nice.
So I was a junior in college, and we decided we were just going to run because we wanted to drop some weight. And she also had her eye on a guy on the cross country team.
Nice.
So So we started running, and she ran periodically through the years, but I've just stuck with it. And funny. Adding to the story, she's actually still married to this guy.
Oh, nice, yeah. Well,
and are kind of funny.
And are they both still running?
He is. Yeah. He is not.
Yeah. Well, she ran. Yeah. She ran to get the guy, and then she got
it worked,
him. Yeah.
So,
Well, that's true. Yeah. So that's when you started, and then I guess I need to know: did you guys drop that freshman 30?
Yes, we did actually.
Yeah.
It did help.
Yeah.
But then after I graduated from college, and through college, those last 2 years of college, I'd run, but not every day. And graduated from college, was back home. I had a degree in business management. My parents had a retail clothing store, so I was working with them and just running in the mornings here and there. And I joined the local running club, which was 1980. It was guys and me.
Yeah.
Basically. And one day we had gone to a race together, and we'd come back, and they were like, let's just start running every day and see how long it lasts. I was like, sure, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I know there's at least 2 of us that are still running every day since then.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the rest. I know some of them are not anymore. And it's just so many people talk about they get burnt out from running. But to me, it just seems like after so long, especially when you run every day, it's just like brushing your teeth. It's just like something you do, you know?
Yeah, I get that totally. And that's what I try to tell people, that maybe somehow have this sort of infatuation with this run streak. I'm only 18 years, but still it's like, it's not, we're not saving the world here. It's, we're literally brushing our teeth every day and having that consistency. Right. But, Yeah.
But 18 years is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, it's like, it makes me sound old. You know, every year you get older, your streak grows as well. So,
well, that's what somebody, I was interviewed, this has been several years ago. I think it was right before I was going to turn 30 years for my streak. And I was interviewed by a local television station. He goes, do you realize when you started your streak, Reagan was president?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you've probably seen it all in the running world as well. Did you? I think I follow you as well, and you. I don't know if you still run. You still run races. I guess we don't really know. You know, this past year races aren't quite a thing. But were you a competitive runner?
I wouldn't call myself competitive anymore per se.
Well, yeah.
But yes, I am still out there. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's really funny. It's been it was frustrating, but I've learning to deal with it. 3 years ago, well, I guess it'll be coming up on, it's coming up on 4 years ago, I tore a meniscus in my left knee. And, you know, the one doctor I went to, and truthfully, that was my first running injury. I'd run all these years. And, you know, fairly competitively, I have a 3:34 marathon PR. So, you know, it's fairly decent time.
Yeah.
And, but this was like my first injury. And this doctor that I'd gone to was just like, well, you need to go to get it fixed, have surgery, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you know, A, I've made it this long in my life without having any surgery. And B, that's going to really screw up my streak. So I did some research on my own and talked to a lot of people that had meniscus surgery that weren't runners, but were just, you know, everyday walk around people. And they were like, don't do it. Because I had it done and it still bothers me. So I'm like, okay, why would I have surgery and still be in pain?
Yeah.
So I found a PT that was just like, no, he said, we can work with you. And, you know, we worked with it, and, you know, knock on wood, my meniscus doesn't bother me at all today.
And then how long what was the recovery time?
I guess truthfully, probably about a year.
Yeah.
And I did about 6 months of slow running and like a mile and a half a day. That was all I did.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot to be said for active recovery from a race. And I think there's a lot to be said from, you know, actively dealing with your injuries instead of just sitting around and letting them get worse.
Yeah.
But I do a lot more stretching now before I go out to run than I ever did in my life.
Yeah, maybe as the streak gets older, and obviously as we get older, you know, I think there's more we kind of have to add to our routine for this longevity of running. You know, I know a lot of runners, you know, they hope to run for the rest of their life, but, you know, sometimes you get to that point, you know, where maybe your body and their mind can't handle the run anymore. But yeah, it's I know what you mean. You know, it's one thing being 20 years old and recovering from an injury, and then it's another, you know, being older and recovering. But, you know, that's pretty incredible. That was your first injury ever within the, you know, 30 over.
It really was.
Wow.
It really was.
Yeah.
And I've run through shingles. I've run through food poisoning. But I was just like, okay, I'm not going to let this get me down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, in my story, I've run through. I've never had a tear like that, but I've had pretty much every injury a runner could get, and you know, I think that's when a streak can kind of be controversial to somebody else, is running through that pain and injury. But like you were saying, you know, being active in your recovery also really aids in, you know, recovering, helping the injury as well. So there's that balance.
It does. And, you know, I had, there's a couple runners in a couple running groups that I'm on, and they were like, well, do you still feel like you did the right thing by running through this? I'm like, yeah. You know, yes, I do.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Social media can be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I've found I've limited my social media a lot because there's so many people that are just, and I guess it started when I was injured, because you read posts, what other people, I ran, 30 miles today, and you're thinking, well, I used to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. You're going out and hobbling for your mile and a half. Mm-hmm. Or, the memories come up, and you see what you did a year ago that day, and it can play with your mind. And I think a lot of runners get frustrated when they read what other runners are doing. Mm-hmm. And I hate that. I just don't think that's a good situation.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I recently joined, talking about my run, and I've noticed, it's okay to be out there and training and putting in the miles, and it's fine to be inspired by it. But if there's a sense that you start feeling discouraged or not enough or not good enough, not fast enough, I mean, that's definitely something, to work out within yourself. I think it's also a way, I think, for other people to hold themselves accountable to post about their run, or I don't know, but I know what you mean. I don't want to.
I mean, I love reading what other people are doing. Don't get me wrong with that. I still, post when I'm out there, but I don't know, a lot of, and I guess everybody needs to have their own mindset to be happy with where they are, with mm-hmm. wherever they are. Mm-hmm. Some people may never run more than 2 miles. Well, good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more than a lot of people are doing on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad started his run streak. He's a little over 15 years now, and he literally does just a mile a day. So we kind of came up with this, and he's never been a competitive runner. Maybe he did a few 5Ks for fun, but never trained, never did speed work, never ran long distance. He just does a mile every day, as part of his routine. He's let's see, I don't want to get his age wrong, maybe 68, I believe. 68 years young. And, we developed this, I guess, philosophy of, we call it the measly mile. It's about getting out there every day for a mile, but every day. It's one thing to run 10 miles on a Friday and not run again till Wednesday. So it's just a matter of that consistency. And
right. It's just, just like I say, you just need to feel good about yourself no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still go to races, but I'll, never place again. I may place in an age group here and there, because once you get, in the 60 and above, it's a little easier.
Depends who shows up.
Yeah. But, I know I'm never going to run a 6 or 7 minute pace again. Mm-hmm. I know that, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So, it's just, you see so many people that want to run that can't, and, you have to be, physically. Mm-hmm. Because I know my poor husband, he's had 4 knee replacements. Oh, wow. Well, he couldn't run if he had to.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's more people like him out there that has the desire to, but just, for one reason or another, they can't.
Mm-hmm. And does that bring you like a sense of gratitude on every run, the ability to get out?
Absolutely.
Every day? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every morning I do a gratitude mm-hmm. listing, and that's, it may sound crazy to some people, but I'm thankful and for my running and grateful that I can still get out there and do it.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound crazy to me, but, we're crazy together.
That's right, we are. Well, they call us kind of crazy, but...
Yeah. Yeah, that several other run streakers I've spoken with long run streaks, it's the same thing. It's that gratitude. You're outside, you're being able to move your body to run, as simple as it is, and it's being thankful for that moment. So I think it's a practice right there of being in the moment, being present.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing better than being in nature.
Yeah. And do you do most of your runs outside?
Yeah, I do all runs outside. Mm-hmm. Basement for those days where it's icy. Mm-hmm. And that's just really kind of happened as I've gotten older. Yeah. Because I'm just like, okay, you're almost 63. You don't need to be on ice and fall and break something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, that's... my mind is you don't want to fall and, jeopardize the streak. Because I swore years ago, like, I'm not a snow skier. I don't do Everybody was doing like aerobic stuff and, CrossFit. I don't do any of that because I swore years ago I was never going to do anything that would jeopardize my running.
Yeah,
I haven't.
I understand that for sure. I've turned down many requests for taking a trip out west for skiing, snowboarding. I'm like, there's just not worth it. It's one thing, it's not like there's this attachment to running every day, but I feel like, if I jeopardize myself doing something crazy, even something so simple as skiing. I mean, it just one thing, it just doesn't sound fun to me. The snow, you're gliding down the snow. I'm just not into it. But another thing, it's, I see injury written all over it.
Oh, I do for me because I can be a klutz anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So what would you say? Well, I guess the past 4 years, or when you were injured, that was probably the hardest time getting through the run. But was there any other sort of times where you found it difficult to run, or like some people, sometimes when I tell them about the run streak, for one, they think, oh, you must have never been injured for the past 18 years. And, I've had my fair share of injuries, or, there's sometimes the sense of, oh, that must have been easy for you to run every day. But, you're at over almost 13,000 consecutive days. And I'm sure you've had over 13,000 or almost 13,000 days of obstacles or, excuses or.
Oh, we could all make excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, that you just have to make the commitment. I know that to a lot of people that don't run, they probably think that's silly, and I'm sure in your streak is fantastic as your streak is, there are days where my husband had surgery, my father had surgery, or my mom was in the hospital. You get up, you run at 3:00 in the morning so that you can be at the hospital at 6:00 for their surgery. I mean, just the things you do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't even think twice about it. You're just like, okay, I've got to be there at this time. So, you back up the clock to what time you need to get out of bed. So, I don't know. It's just what you do.
And besides that one time, was there any day that, approaching midnight and you realized, oh, my run?
No, that was honestly the only time.
Yeah.
That was the only time in all these years that I really came close.
And do you ever have nightmares about that?
I don't. I have a recurring nightmare, though, that I'm in a race and that I'm running a hill so steep that I'm on all fours. It's weird. But it's like, I know it happens about once every 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm just like,
Yeah, that's funny.
I know. I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, that's my running nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, one time back in 2016, November, my son was having his 2-year-old birthday party. And yeah, I know, I was so busy getting ready for it, and I couldn't get rid of him, so to speak, to get my run in. and when he was napping, I was setting up for the party, and it was 8:00 at night, and I was actually getting ready to go to bed. And I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't done my run yet. And that's the one time that I didn't forget, but I, didn't think about it till 8 p.m. There was just a lot going on. But I still actually have
a small panic attack.
Yeah, just a small, but there's still plenty of time. It was only 8 p.m. But
right.
I still kind of have dreams and maybe you could say nightmares about that day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, yeah. But yep. Yeah, well, anything else you wanted to share? I mean, I feel like once you get to maybe a certain point in your streak, I don't know what year that is, and maybe it's different for everybody. Like maybe I find when you start a run streak, it might be more about the competition and being able to get in the training every day. But I've found in my experience maybe it's just also a sense of getting older, but as the streak grows, I feel like it becomes something more than just a run. It becomes more more about maybe connecting with yourself. And, you know, as we were talking about having that time for gratitude and being thankful, how would you explain what your run streak has given you, or what you've learned from it?
I think, and, you know, the run streak and maybe, you know, just running in general, like I said, I can't even remember back to a day where I didn't run. You know, with your streak, I'm sure you're the same way. But I think running gives us all a sense of accomplishment, a sense of being happy with ourselves. Because I'm a firm believer that before you can love others or be a good friend, spouse, or whatever, you have to love yourself. And I think that running, and maybe the streak running, you know, it does make you, like you said, a sense of gratitude, makes you feel better about yourself. And, you know, if you're a morning runner, it gives you energy for the day. You just feel like you can do anything. It's like, hey, you know, I've been running every day for this long, you know, go ahead, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring the day. I can handle anything.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I think that's beautiful. And the fact, you know, over 30 years, you know, I think that's, you know, in some ways an accomplishment, but, you know, it's an accomplishment of committing to yourself every day for that long. So,
right. And I know there's some people that would call us selfish, but, you know, well, that's their problem.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that perspective that they might see of themselves doing this every day and how that would look like for them, and kind of projecting that on somebody else that is doing this. So I don't think it's, you know, everyone can have their opinions, but, you know, for me, you know, it's not, I was going to say it's the best time of day, but then there's definitely some runs that I struggle with, but, you know, at the end of every run, yeah.
Oh yeah, we all have those.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it's also this morning was a perfect morning. I had to go out a little earlier because my husband and I had a business meeting early, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to make this an easy, you know, mile and a half today. Well, it ended up being 4 miles because you know, you're thinking it was windy. Oh, the wind was blowing. And it was nice yesterday morning. It was in the 60s, and then this morning it was back in the 30s and the wind blowing. So it was like, I'm just going to, you know, cut this short. Well, you know, the minute you get outside and get that first half mile in, you know, it's like, why was I worried about this?
Yeah, it's just, you know, what we build up in our mind. And then it's, you know, every day when we get out to run, it's like we have to burn through those obstacles that we created and, you know, move on with the day. So you did 4.
That's right, yeah.
You did 4 miles this morning?
I did.
Yeah, because so did I. So there we go. We had the same run.
All right. Well, good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the old saying that, you know, the worst step of your run is the one out the door.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Maybe the first dozen.
Yeah.
But once you get past
that first step out the door, you're good.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
Oh, well, that's neat. You did 4 today, too.
Yeah, and I was planning on, you know, well, I wanted to do 3, and then it was, and same thing, you know, the weather was horrible, it was windy, it was cold, and I'm like, this, you know, might as well squeeze in another mile. Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
You know, 2 of the guys that I used to run with, we had days that we would call Runner's World Day because they'd say they need to come take a picture of us. Those days where, like, the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour and it's raining, and, you know, and they're like, okay, this is the day that only as hardcore crazy people are out.
Yeah, but that's the day that needs the evidence.
Yeah, it's just like, somebody, you know, take a picture of us to show we were out here.
Yeah. Well, I guess the proof's in the pudding as far as, you know, the run streak shows it, that you were out there in every sort of probably weather imaginable and situation. So,
yeah, well, that is true. I'm sure you've seen it all too.
Yeah, for the most part. But, you know, I'm excited to keep going and see what else I have to run through, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time, Judy. And I hope to keep connecting on our Facebook group there and through other ways.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, keep each other updated.
I love this group that you've that you've created on Facebook. I think that's a really great, encouraging group for women. I do like that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad to have you a part of it. And I think it's, I've gotten the same feedback. So it's been nice to, like I said, I wanted to do this new season because I've never talked to another woman streak runner before. I had a friend that ran let's see. Hold on, I had a friend that started a run streak a few years ago, and she just did a year or whatever. But I've always wanted to connect with other women runners, and there's been a few pregnant women streak runners that we've kind of connected, and I've helped them through that. Yeah, so it's I think it's been a nice community.
It definitely is a nice community. Because, like I said, there's some negativity out there. So this is a nice, positive group. And that's, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I appreciate you being in the group and appreciate your time on the podcast today. So, if you have any other stories to share, we're willing to listen. But if you want to tell us, and I believe you also have a blog, or I don't know if you keep up with that.
Just not as much as I used to. I am, that was one of my goals for this year, to get back to my blogging. So I need to get back on that again.
And what's if you wanted to share with the listeners?
It's the streakingrunner.com.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, truthfully, the last blog post I did was a couple weeks ago, was the year anniversary of my mom passing away. So it was kind of a little tribute to her. So. Nice. So my next one will be more back to running related.
Well, that's fine. You share whatever, you still have to run through that. So it's,
you do.
Essentially everything's not about the run, but the running, helps us through everything.
Oh, so much. Yeah. So much.
Nice. Well, thanks for your time, Judy. And we can, connect through the rest of our running life here.
Absolutely, and thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today. I've enjoyed this.
Great, I'm glad, and I'm glad to connect and hear your story as well. I've seen you on the list for years, so it's been nice.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Judy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.